Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. I thought on this 1st of March that I would go live and share a little bit of motivation behind the visibility. Now, if you have never watched anything that I've done before, my name's Jenny Kovacs, as it says down there. I'm a visibility queen. I'm actually known as the queen of being seen because you being seen, you being heard, and you being visible is literally why I jump out of bed in the mornings. So at the time of recording this, I'm actually streaming this live to my YouTube channel, also to my Facebook page and my Facebook group. And I wanted to share a little Tuesday tip, as it is today, as I'm streaming this, and just to help with the whole ethos of pinch, punch, first day of the month. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, when I was at school, on the first day of the month, we always were striving to be the first to say to our friends, pinch, punch, first day of the month, and then to protect ourselves, we would shout, no return, i.e. you can't do that back to me. And believe it or not, some decades down the line, I still do this to some of my friends. You will know who you are. I'm always talking about pinch, punch. But I also realise and recognise that for some of you, you're starting the month and maybe you want to start it with a spring in your step, but you're not feeling it for whatever reason. Something's happened, something maybe has quote unquote gone wrong and you're not feeling it. So in this video, I'm going to share 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you can do to help with that. Okay, so let me just start by saying that I have been the queen of being seen for coming up to 12 years now. And whilst you might think that visibility is an outside job and it's all about putting yourself out there and being here, there and everywhere, there's a certain element to that that's true. And visibility is an inside job. The way you think about being seen, the way you think about being visible, the way you think about putting yourself out there is important. And it always starts from within. So I'm saying, hey, it's Dawn Commerly, sober fishy. She says, morning, lovely. I'm feeling it. I know. Pinch, punch, first day of the month, and some other tips as well. So the thing that I need you to know is because I'm streaming simultaneously to 3 different places, do what Dawn has done. Just type a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from or anything else that I say. It might resonate or you might even have a question. Why not? Jump on. So, and by the way, to find out more about Dawn, check her out on Instagram. I know she's on Facebook as well. She's the Sober Fishy. And I really loved her post that she posted on Sunday. We won't go there. Dawn, that post that you posted on Sunday, the person with their head over the toilet, I actually saw that happening in the afternoon on Sunday as I walked down one of the high streets of London. So keep on keeping on. Your work is so needed. Nobody wants to see that before their tea. But anyway, I digress. So Tuesday tips. Now, this has come from, for those of you who are part of the Visibility Vibes Tribe, which is the private Facebook group, you'll know that there was a post in there yesterday, and I really feel for the person. I don't want to kind of out them because this is going out publicly. The thing is, they had something happen like, and imagine, because funnily enough, I've been talking about this for a few months now. Imagine that you're on your favorite social media channel and something happens where maybe a misunderstanding occurs and suddenly they go, no, you can't be broadcasting here, you can't be on here. And imagine that, say your account is shut down or you disappear. For those of you with businesses or those of you where social media is your lifeline, it feels devastating. Let's face it, it's a loss. So if you wake up this morning and you're not feeling full of the joys of spring and you're feeling devastated, then this video is even more so for you, for whatever reason that might be. So when things get tough, here's the first tip that I want to share with you. When things get tough, acknowledge how you're feeling. Don't disregard it. Don't gloss over it. Don't try and hide it or push it down. I always say it's a bit like bobbing apples. If you have apples in a container of water and you try and push them down, they will always spring up bigger, bolder, stronger somewhere else. So don't try and push them down or hide them. Just acknowledge what's going on. Acknowledge how you feel. And in the meantime, first tip, focus on doing something that you've got on your to-do list. Now, if you're a business owner, you've probably got an endless to-do list. If you're not a business owner, it might be that there's that cupboard you wanted to clear out. There's that drawer full of bits that you wanted to sort through. It could be that, you know, you fancy doing a bit of therapeutic cleaning or dusting or hoovering or something like that. But in the meantime, rather than focusing on the issue, and this is often where we're not in control of the outcome, you know, maybe it's a customer service thing. You've reached out to a customer service, department, and you're waiting to hear back from them. So if that's you and you've done your piece and now you've literally got to sit and wait, use that time to do something different, to focus on something in the meantime. If it's painting your nails, if it's, you know, moisturizing your skin, if it's dusting a shelf, if it's cleaning the oven, or anything else like that, use that time, because it gives you something else to do with your brain instead. Because what I know for sure, and I've like literally worked with thousands of clients over the years, where if we're left too long to overthink and think too much about it, we can then begin to create more anxiety within ourselves than we need to. Okay, so tip number one, it's important to acknowledge where you are and also find something that you can focus on while you're waiting for an outcome. So you're not literally sitting there twiddling your thumbs, thinking about all the kind of different scenarios and situations that you might be going through. Okay, so tip number two, and I found this personally helpful. I went through something pretty tough in 2010. It really pushed me to my edges. You know, when sometimes you're really tested and don't know how much literally you can take. And what I did was I journaled on this. And many of you who have followed me for any time will know that I'm not a prolific journaler. I'll journal sporadically. So as a story unfolds, journal as you go through. Don't wait until a specific time and sit and try and capture it all. So in any moment, you might be feeling euphoric, or you might be going through the change curve, where in another moment you might be feeling frightened, or you might be feeling curious, or you might be feeling a different emotion. As and when you go through the journey, have a notepad and pen or pencil to hand where you can just write down how you're feeling in that moment. What thoughts are running through your head? Get it out of your head and onto paper. Even if you don't keep that notebook, even if you end up burning the pages later, journal on the story of the experience as it happens. Keep going back to it, keep adding to it, if that helps. And it will help, because it will take it out of swimming around your head and putting it onto paper where you can do something with that later. So journal on the story as it happens, journal on the experience as it unfolds. Okay, so third tip, think about an alternative that you can do. Now, I started off with the example. I'm hearing a lot of this, you know, from people that are very well known and high profile to, you know, everyday people like you and I, where their livelihood almost feels threatened because maybe something's happened with their social media account. For example, I heard a few months ago of somebody who had taken a bit of quiet time but actually had their account compromised, and so their Facebook and Instagram accounts were basically, they just disappeared. I mean, what on earth do you do? Where do you go next? So think about, in these scenarios, what is helpful to think about, rather than what you haven't got access to, or rather than what you can't get hold of, is to flip it over on its head and think instead about, well, what could I do instead? So if, for example, something like that happened, you know, one of my friends was telling me how they dropped their phone, smashed it, and they had no phone for 4 days, and how liberating it felt. They, for example, if they hadn't felt so liberated and wanted to reach out and connect, they would have been encouraged to think about, well, how else could I reach people? Do you want to do old school letter writing? Remember that, pen pals? Do you want to send a little message, you know, from your computer, an email? Think about the different ways you can do it. And when it comes to visibility and putting yourself out there, my work is really, it's almost around the spoken visibility. So the presentations, the videos, the talks, the speaking gigs. But I also recognize that in order to have that clarity to type the stuff you want a starting place in your head where you can at least think about, you know, what it is you want to say. The biggest question I always get asked from people is, well, what do I say when this happens? Or this person has said this or done this, how should I respond? So think about a message that you could send regardless, you know, and this allows you to get creative, which brings me on to my fourth point. When something seemingly doesn't work out in the way that we were expecting or hoping, all is not lost. Take a moment, like I say, just to reflect where you are, notice where you are, and then get creative. So if you're great with making lists, make a list. If you're a post-it sticky note type of person, do that. Those of you that have worked with me privately will know about the shower tip as well, which I know sounds really odd, but it makes sense. But get creative and start to make a list of the many different ways that you can have the issue or the problem or the thing that's stopping you reverse. So if it's, I don't feel confident, think of the many ways of different things you could do that might help you to feel confident. It might be, oh, I'm going to start being around people that seem a bit more confident than me, or I'm going to start learning more about it, or I'm going to read Brené Brown's book, or watch her thing on Netflix, or I might elicit the help of a coach, or I might put myself out there anyway and just, jump and the net will appear. Different strokes for different folks. None of them are right or wrong, good or bad. But if you can get creative, you can start to think of other ways. I'm reminded of a mentor of mine, a gentleman called John Seymour, who has had a really long career in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. And what I like about him, not only did he teach us lots of principles about NLP, he's also very wise and very attuned, Because of him, I was introduced to the work of Eckhart Tolle and didn't even realise, and a lot of other really great kind of self tools that I could use to help me navigate things. And one of the things he always used to say is, one choice is no choice, two choices are a dilemma, three choices, now you've got options. So on that last point, getting creative is a way for you to give yourself other options. And often they're things that you hadn't actually thought about before. When you start brainstorming, putting your sticky notes or writing down on a sheet of paper, or the shower tip that I talk about, once you start doing that, you start opening up the options that you've got, so that you're no longer in, well, I've only got one thing I can do, I've got no choice mode, which is the one, or I can either do this thing or this thing, which is the dilemma. Which one is best, good, bad, right, wrong, doesn't always give you the options that you need to be able to move forward, because you're stuck in this, should I do this thing? Should I do that thing? Oh, I don't know. So the best thing you can do is create options. Generate ideas. Once you've got three, you've got options. And if you're in creative mode, then you can do it even more. So I really hope this Tuesday tip is beneficial if you're stuck in some way. I haven't seen anyone post any questions, although I'm having a look and I can see comments coming through from Facebook, but I didn't actually hop on to YouTube. So if you have put any questions or you're watching on the replay, I will jump in and respond in the best way. And if some of those responses lend themselves to another video, I'll create a video for you and I'll call it the title of the question that you've asked me. How's that? That way you can sit, you can noodle on it. But the thing that I do want to say, wherever you are, whether you're full of the joys of spring and popping yourself out there, or whether you're just feeling a little bit jaded for whatever reason, then what I'll say to you is, like, follow these tools. Happy first day of the month. Today is a brand new day. You get to wipe the slate clean. Whatever it is that you're going through, however it is that you're feeling, you get to make a fresh start. You get to start again. And if you're going through something particularly tough, forget the day by day, even forget the hour by hour, try moment by moment. And as Dawn was the person that's commenting, I can see your comments there. If what you're struggling through is drink related and you think, you know what, it's time to look at sobriety as an option, then definitely get in contact with Dawn. That's it for now. Thank you so much. Happy March to you. Happy Tuesday to you. And if this tip can help anyone you know, I'm going to ask you to do two things. Do share this video wherever you're watching with somebody. It doesn't have to be publicly. It can just be in their inbox saying, you know what, I saw this and I thought of you because. But the other thing that I'd really love you to do is hop over to my YouTube channel. It's just Jenny Kovacs. I'm still there as Jenny Kovacs. Hop over to my YouTube channel. And if I can ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, this is becoming more and more important to me as I've been doing less and less stuff on various social media platforms. I'm still doing all the stuff over there, and the types of things that I talk about, of course, visibility, you being able to put yourself out there, whether it's on video, whether it's presentations, whether it's on speaking. And I also talk a lot about making an impact. So the difference that you can make on making an impact. Now, if you're an employed professional, I'll talk about career progression and how you can raise your professional profile that way. And if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, a speaker, a consultant, a freelancer, a coach, or anything else like that, I'll talk about how you can put your work out there so that people not only notice what you do, see you, get you in an authentic way, but they also then want to buy from you, approach you if that's what you're offering. If you're offering a product, a service, a message, they buy into you. So I'd love to see you go over and like that, subscribe, to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your comments, your engagement, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the next Tuesday tip. Bye for now.